Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and I can be reached at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Every week, we take an in depth look at what is happening in the Villages real estate market, give you some idea as to how quickly properties are moving, what price levels properties are moving at, and give you some perspective as to whether it's more advantageous for buyers or sellers. If you are looking to buy in the villages, please consider using me. I will try to help you find a property at a very good price. And if you are trying to sell your property, please consider using me. I will try to maximize the price you receive in a reasonable period of time. A couple of things to note. First, make sure that you check the date on the show. We produce this every Monday. Make sure you're getting the most recent information. Secondly, all this information is drawn from the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service. It does not include any properties from the village's own internal listing service, the VLS. For that reason, if you're interested in buying a home in the villages, you really should employ two agents, a broker who will give you access to the MLS and a broker who will give you access to the VLS. Without both brokers, you will not see about half of the properties that are on the market. This week, we're going to start by taking a look at this data point, which is a look at how many people are locking in mortgage rates. This is obviously a pretty accurate measure of activity. And I'll draw your attention to the second paragraph where we're looking at vacation home mortgages. And the mortgage rate locks for second homes in March were down by almost 50% year over year. What this means is that the number of people buying second homes with a mortgage was approximately half of what it was a year ago and only one quarter of what it was in January of 22. Let's now take a look at what's happening with interest rates. For those who've watched this channel before, you'll know that this graph is the yield on the government 10-year bond, which today is just slightly over 3.7%. As those who follow the channel know, this is the yield that most closely tracks the mortgage rate. And once again, we are seeing very little movement. The market interest rates look like they could move substantially higher or lower from here without much warning. The market is tightly coiled, and the bad news is that inflation is not yet moderating sufficiently for the Fed, and the only thing that would really cause rates to come down is an economic slowdown. Not sure what that would do for real estate. Hard to believe it would help. So let's turn our attention back to the villages now specifically. We start by taking a look at total listings. This week there are 333. Last week there were 337. Listings range in price from 179,000 to 2.9 million, and you can see that ever since the middle of March, the number of listings has been hovering around 340. Here we look at listings in more detail. This chart shows us all listings broken down by price segment. In the most active price segment, the $300,000 to $500,000 range, this week there are 213 properties for sale. Last week there were 219, the week before 222, the week before 226, and the week before 224. This is a look at the median listing price per square foot for all properties in the villages. This week it's exactly the same as it was last week, which is the lowest we've seen so far. 259.26 a square foot, same as last week. It's worth noting that geographical location within the villages does affect the listing price and the listing price per square foot. But by aggregating the listing price per square foot for all properties in the villages, we get a sense of the villages real estate market as a whole. We have not broken down the price per square foot by area. If you have interest in becoming a client of ours, we'll be happy to do a specific analysis on any area for you to determine what prices have been recently on properties that either went pending or sold. Here we take a look at how long properties are staying on the market. This is the median listing time for all listings, and we have bumped back up again to close to 50 days. 49 days is the median time on the market for all listings this week. Last week it was only 45 days. It would be distressing to see us get back to 55 days or higher, but we are approaching slower period of the year. And our last look at listings, this is the percentage of listings that have been on the market for more than 100 days. 23% of all listings, which is 77 out of the 333 total listings, have been on the market for more than 100 days. And we're approaching a quarter of all listings, which is the highest percentage of listings that we've seen so far this year at least. So now let's take a look at how many properties are entering and leaving the market. This graph, which shows us the number of new listings and the number of pending home sales by week. We have 29 new listings this week compared to 39 last week, and the number of homes that went pending increased from 41 last week to 43. Looking at this graph, the number of new listings is the blue line and the number of homes that went pending, the amber line. Number of new listings back almost to the lows that we've seen this year, whereas the number of homes that went pending remains between 40 and 45 every period. Here's a look at the new listings broken down by price segment. 29 new listings, as I said, compared to 39 last week. This week, new listings range in price from just under 210,000 to just under 2.7 million. Most active price segment, $300,000 to $500,000 range. This week, 15 listings. Last week, 20. Week before, 23. Week before, 41. And the week before, 17. Here we take a look at pending home sales in more detail. This graph shows us the median price per square foot for all properties that went pending last week. 254.39 the number compared to 266.91 the week before. Even though that seems like a dramatic change, you can see by looking at this graph, 245 to 265 has been the range this year, and at 254.39 we are right in the middle of that range. Another look at the pending home sales. This shows us how long they were on the market before going pending. 26 days compared to 29 days last week. 26 days is close to the best numbers that we've seen over the last several months, and encouraging news for the market. Here's another look at homes that went pending. This shows us what the price change from the original listing price was. Last week, 6.9% was the median decrease for the properties that went pending. This week, 6.25%, the median change. We're still close to the worst levels we've seen. This is our last look at pending home sales. The percentage of homes that went pending within 7 days of being listed, 16% of homes, 1 out of 7 approximately, compared to 24% last week, 1 out of 4. Still, it is encouraging to see that if homes are attractively priced, there are buyers looking and enthusiastic and ready to buy. Now we'll take a look at the homes that sold and closed last week, which numbered 27, down from 37 homes the week before. Prices for the homes that sold and closed last week ranged from $282,000 to $950,000. Here's a closer look at the properties that sold and closed over the last 7 days. In the most active price segment, the $300,000 to $500,000 range, there were 18 properties that sold. Previous week saw 22, week before 13, week before 26, and the week before 20. Looking at homes that sold over the last 7 days to determine the median price per square foot, improvement from the week before, $254 the median price on the properties that sold, up from the $237 the week before, but $240 to $250 still seems to be the range here. Here we take a look at how long the properties that closed last week were on the market. 22 days, the median time, big improvement from the 40 days of the previous week. But looking at this graph, you can see that the median time on the market for properties is between 20 and 40 days, and it seems to oscillate between them with no clear direction. This shows us what percentage of listings have had a decrease from the original listing price. 56.16% of properties listed have decreased their asking price from the original listing price. This is close to the worst levels that we've seen, and dramatically worse than last week. And this is the percent of decrease. The median decrease for all listings is 4.26, slight improvement from the median decrease of 4.52% last week. So that concludes this week's look at the Village's real estate market. Once again, if you're interested in buying a home and are trying to get a good price, or you're trying to sell your home within a reasonable period of time, or if you're just curious to get an opinion as to value, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I'll be happy to help you any way I can. Take care.